Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. It's that time of the month. Today we're going to talk about book club and the winning book for May 2024. If you are a returning member of book club or you're a new member of book club, welcome. I hope the poll selection this month gave you an interesting set of choices, and I hope everyone's excited to read the winner. I know that I am. So, what books were on the poll? I did a random selection off of my shelves. And so, let's talk about them. First up would be What the Wind Knows by Amy Harmon. I forgot to pick this one up at the library when I was there yesterday. It is also on Kindle Unlimited. And this is a historical fiction, and I will read you the description. Anne Gallagher grew up enchanted by her grandfather's stories of Ireland. Heartbroken at his death, she travels to his childhood home to spread his ashes. There, overcome with memories of the man she adored and consumed by a history she never knew, she is pulled into another time. The Ireland of 1921, teetering on the edge of war, is a dangerous place in which to awaken. But there Anne finds herself, hurt, disoriented, and under the care of Dr. Thomas Smith, guardian to a young boy who is oddly familiar. Mistaken for the boy's long-missing mother, Anne adopts her identity, convinced the woman's disappearance is connected to her own. As tensions rise, Thomas joins the struggle for Ireland's independence, and Anne is drawn into the conflict beside him. Caught between history and her heart, she must decide whether she is willing to let go of the life she knew for a love she never thought she'd find. But in the end, is the choice actually hers to make? It sounds very good. It's Irish. It sounds like it's a time travel type of historical fiction. So I'm fascinated. I'm looking forward to reading it if that is the choice this month. And she is a new to me author. So that is always a plus. Next up would be Mrs. Graham's Cold War Cookbook by Celia Rees. This was a Dave pick for 2024, and it is a spy novel, which is always welcome in my book. So I'll read you the back of this one. Germany, 1946. Edith Graham has always flown under the radar. 20-something and ordinary-looking, she spent her war years quietly teaching at a girls' school. But peacetime promises another decade of living with her stuffy, genteel parents, so Edith applies for a job with a control commission in Germany, which hires civilians to work in the zone of occupation. To her surprise, she's recruited as a spy. It turns out Edith is perfect spy material, single, with a college degree in German. And there's another thing. Edith's cousin went to Oxford with a hunted war criminal, Count Kurt von Stavno, whom Edith remembers all too well from before the war. Her job is to find him. Edith heads to the continent armed with a convincing cover, an unassuming schoolteacher who collects recipes. Recipes she fills with coded intelligence and sends back to her handlers in London. But occupied Germany is awash with other spies, collaborators, and opportunists, and Edith is soon pulled into their world. The closer she gets to uncovering von Stavno's whereabouts and the network of people who still support him, the greater the danger. It sounds fascinating. As y'all know, I'm not a huge World War II fiction person, and I am loving that this is set post-war, which is an often neglected period of history. So if this wins, I will be thrilled, But either way, it will be read by me, hopefully before August. Okay. Next up would be The Secrets of Sloane House by Shelley Gray. This is Christian historical fiction at that. This is the first book in a series. And I'll read you the back of this one. Sloane House is among the most gilded mansions of the Gilded Age Chicago. Rosalind Perry, the new housemaid, pours the morning coffee before the hard gaze of her mistress. "It's simple, Rosalind," she says. "I am Veronica Sloane, heiress to one of the country's greatest fortunes. You are simply one in a long line of unsuitable maids." Back on the farm in Wisconsin, Rosalind's plan had seemed logical. Move to Chicago, get hired on at Sloane House. Rosalind discovered what transpired while her sister worked as a maid there, and followed the clues to why she disappeared. Now, as a live-in housemaid to the Sloanes, Rosalind realizes her plan had been woefully simple-minded. She was ignorant of the hard, hidden life of a servant in a big, prominent house, of the divide between the Sloane family and the people who served them. And most of all, she never imagined so many people could live in such proximity and keep such dark secrets. Yet, while Sloane House is daunting, the streets of Chicago are downright dangerous. The World's Fair has brought a new kind of crime to the city, and a lonely young woman is always at risk. But when Rosalind accepts the friendship of Reed Armstrong, the handsome young heir to a Chicago silver fortune, she becomes an accidental rival to Veronica Sloane. As Rosalind continues to disguise her kinship to the missing maid and struggles to appease her jealous mistress, she probes the dark secrets of Sloane House and comes ever closer to uncovering her sister's mysterious fate. A fate that everyone in the house seems to know, but which no one dares to name. This is the first book of a trilogy. This book sounds so fascinating, and I love me a good historical mystery. And this one is certainly going to be right up Tammy's alley. So if this one wins, I will not be at all sad. Okay, last one. This was an impulse pickup by me from Book Outlet Black Friday last year. And that would be Dear George, Dear Mary by Mary Calvi. And this is a novel of George Washington's first love. And by the way, I love the in papers in this. I don't know if it's showing up well, but it's all their handwriting from the letters. It's just gorgeous. So I'll read you the inside flap. General, warrior, president, but also a man. Inspired by hundreds of letters, witness accounts, and journal entries from the 18th century, Dear George, Dear Mary explores George Washington's relationship with his first love, Mary Eliza Phillipse, the richest belle in America. Prepare to be swept away into the 1700s, from breathtaking scenes of New York's polite society to battlefield victories in Harlem and beyond. Dramatic portraits unveil a Washington on the precipice of greatness, and also a writer of romantic poetry and a fine dancer. His ravishing love is in New York, heiress Mary Eliza Phillipse, whose beauty and refinement disguise a deep and complex inner struggle. Though imaginative writing that moves swiftly from society balls to bloody battlefields, this novel opens up George Washington's inner life. Washington's actual words reveal more than historians have focused on before, including why he may have had such bitter resentment towards the British 2 decades before the colonies revolted. Mary Calvi's story is both sweeping and intimate as it asks, did unrequited love spark a flame that ignited a cause that became the American Revolution? I think this book sounds fascinating. I am very, very fascinated. And there are letters throughout this book. It's not just prose. There are actual letters from Washington and Mary, obviously. And I am so excited to read this when I get the chance. So, I know this isn't her first book. She has another book that sounds equally good. What is it? Let's see if it's listed. Of course it's not listed. Maybe it's in the back flap. It's not. I know she has another book. Why don't publishers do that? Why? Oh well. So, those were the 4 choices. And they would all easily fit a prompt for Amanda. Amanda's readathon over at Book Lover Amanda for her Southern Charms readathon in May. So, what book actually won? Well, if you've been keeping up with the community tab, this isn't going to be a surprise, but it is What the Wind Knows by Amy Harmon. And I'm so happy that, one, I am looking forward to it. I will check out the hard copy from my library, although it is available on Kindle Unlimited if your library doesn't have it or you don't own it. So that is an option. And I hope more of you join the discussion. I will put the chapters up probably the last full week of April, and we can all enjoy a good Irish historical fiction, which there isn't enough of in this world as far as I'm concerned. So that is May's choice. Social links are all in the description box down below. All the books will be listed. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.